Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Drinks and Dave's. And man, Dave, I was lucky. We got 4 people here. I think I think people came up to the door, and the door was locked, so I had to go and unlock the door, turn on the kegs, and
there's 6.
Yeah, we're 6. So, welcome to the 6 people that are here, and in Drinks and Dave's fashion, here, this is for you.
Well, it's funny because as we were playing the intro, I was thinking, between our wives and my parents, because I noticed they sign in separately because they both comment. That's 4 people, and we only had 2 at the time. It's like what?
Well, and we have apparently our token Spanish speaker too. So bienvenidos a la Tiglili. Thank you. Hello, Linda. Hi, Pantea.
Oh,
and you know what? You know who does? Wait a minute. There's somebody here that deserves a round of applause. I mean, I'm sorry. This person right here needs a round of applause because with everything going on, she supports the show. So
yeah,
that's for her.
Well,
but you were telling me something kind of weird though, that kind of scares me a little bit. You say, and maybe I heard you wrong, but you said that there was an inquiry before the show by Tiglili, and you had said something about the fact that Pantea collects mouse ears.
Mickey
okay. Because I had this, I had this feeling that there was these mason jars. Yeah, mason jars with.
Could you imagine after they dried up, they'd be little tiny little things. It'd be like no point.
They'd look like that dog ear that people put on a book, which I absolutely hate. I hate that.
What do you use as a bookmark?
I usually an old credit card that's been torn up, or I will use a. Well, actually, I don't. Actually, most of my books now, I'm sad to say, I listen to on Audible.
You listen, okay?
Well, because it takes me about 15.
Yeah.
Well, it takes me 15 minutes to get to work. So, and there's nothing to do except, well, I guess paying attention to driving would be one thing I should do. But no, it's nice because you get 30 minutes of reading per se. Mm-hmm. And I always get the unabridged version. So it's just like the regular ones. And I've got 7. I didn't realize this. I got 700 titles that I've gone through in the last couple of years. So I'm reading more that way.
Yeah. Back when I actually read books, I like to use a nice crisp $1 bill or a $2.
Oh, there you go. Actually, I could do that because I have a client that all he does when he tips, he gives 3 $2 bills. That's his standard mode, but they're like fresh printed. So I don't know if he's got a printing thing. And that would be a good idea because it's a pain to go to the bank. Yeah, what I do usually the day I go to the bank, I take and I crumple them up. Do you want to read that one?
This was aggressively greener over the septic tank. I bet that's probably true.
That's true.
Yeah, good knowledge.
So what do you drink? What are you drinking tonight?
Blanton's, Dave. Drinking Blanton's.
Wow! Did you send an email to Jerry and to Chad to make sure they're here for the show because they want to witness this bourbon drinking from you?
I'm trying to get rid of this stuff, Dave.
Oh, okay. Well, and this is going to blow you away. Look at this. I'm actually drinking tonight, and I'm drinking the stuff that is infamous because you remember from the Zoom call where I got in a lot of trouble. I'm drinking Dalmore cigar malt.
Well, welcome back to the man side.
Well, the problem is, though, that's very dangerous because that one day, if you remember correctly, I drank like 3/4 of a bottle during that thing, and I don't know how it figures out per ounce, but it's almost as much as fuel at the gas station.
Pace yourself.
Actually, it's probably more expensive. And then for my cigar, I am smoking a Mayflower.
You're hooked on those.
Yeah, they're really good. They're really, really good. Yeah, I bought a box and I shared the price of a box with Chad. And I hand delivered some cigars.
As you should.
How about you? What are you smoking?
Just Oliva G. Nothing, no big fancy thing tonight. This is my go-to.
Reminds me, I need to send you a couple of these. The Cigars Daily Oliva La Fermentada.
You want to get me hooked on those, huh?
They're really good. They remind me of a little bit lighter and tastier version of the Black Swan.
Lighter?
A little bit lighter. Yeah, they're more. I'm not sure. It's not a Connecticut. It's not a Connecticut. It is a, oh God, I can't remember what the wrapper is, but it's a little bit lighter, but also a little punchier at the same time. So it's really good.
P Beats drinking his neighbor's moonshine named Peg Leg Porker 8-year Tennessee straight bourbon whiskey.
I'll bet you nobody can say Peg Leg Porker and not have a smile on their face. It's just
Peg Leg Porker.
It's
good old Peg Leg Porker. I bet they chatted up in the cafe in the morning over a cup of coffee.
Oh yeah.
P Beat and Peg Leg Porter.
Before they go back to the still.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So you look like it's. I know that you're always en natural on your outdoor studio.
Wow.
So fix your ear. You look goofy. Fix that.
No, this is your ear. You know how the guys they walk around with one pant leg pushed up and the other one down. This is I'm Street Dave.
You're street. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah. So I take it it's a little chilly out on the outdoor studio.
It's fitty tree out here.
Well, we're inside and it's a balmy 71, but outside today, I've got my new phone, by the way, so I think we talked about this. Yeah. So let me just ask her. Hey Siri, what's the current temperature outside?
It's 52 degrees outside.
Oh, see?
There you go. So.
Now everybody that's listening with an iPhone, it's telling them there.
Oh, I never thought about trying that.
Good job.
But my Siri is a redheaded Irish beauty.
I don't think they get that specific.
No, but they said Irish. That was good enough for me.
Okay. So there's probably some dude with a high voice.
Probably.
Enjoy that.
Are you guys all set? What are you guys doing for the Thanksgiving holiday?
I don't know. It's just the two of us, so either looking for a place that we can just pick up a couple of whole meals or going over to her parents' house, depending.
Do you guys don't have, will you guys have Riley's over there? Riley's?
No. We have Safeway. Is that the same company?
Well, no. Riley's bought out Bash's here in Arizona. And what we're doing is it's me and Sharon. And then, I think we talked about her sister lost her husband. Mm. So it's just going to be us three. And so they had a deal for, I think it was $29 or $39. And it supposedly feeds two. So it's a split turkey breast, but there's all the stuff and we're going to make a couple of other things. So that's what we're doing. We're just, instead of going all that. And to answer PB, why the operator Irish in Arizona? I like the accent.
It makes him feel fancy.
It does. It's like Mr. Bond, but my Siri, as my Siri's a little off. My Siri doesn't work so well.
It doesn't pick up the lingo. Yeah, it's got spelling errors in its Siri, which is
we were, as a lot of times we'll go up and see Chad up in Utah, but with her, being alone, we figured no. See, yeah. Pantea gets it. Gets it. Her Siri is British. It adds a level of joie de vivre to.
You suppose there's any countries that do the American accent? Like if they're in Britain, do they pick the American ones?
We need to research that because it'd be hilarious to say, like you see West Texas as the thing. So, hey Siri, yeah, what do y'all want? I think that would be hot. Oh, oops.
Here's one.
So yeah, that would be cool. I wonder if the new iOS update 18.2 is going to allow customized Siris, because I heard about that, and that where you can record have a dialect, right? Okay, according to P-Beat,
take your wife to Roy's at Pebble. Well, Pebble Beach is in the different end of the state, so, or he's just saying in general.
Yeah. And see, you are truly an international family.
Yeah,
truly. Now, what is yours? Just the standard.
I don't use it. I couldn't tell you what it is.
You don't use Siri at all.
The only thing I use it for is when I'm in the car and want to turn something up, and I just say make it louder. That's the only time I've done it. Yeah, I don't ask it anything.
But one of the coolest things, ask it sometime to bake you some chocolate chip cookies. That's
you get a good recipe.
Well, no, it's more of a comment. And then also, apparently the people at Apple love Harry Potter. Because
Oh, yeah?
if you remember the word, hey Siri, luminous.
Here's some info about luminosity.
See, my Siri is the dumbest Siri on the planet. Normally, that turns on the flashlight, and then you say Knox, and it turns the flashlight on.
Oh,
But
that's
apparently,
cool.
my Siri didn't go to school that day.
Yeah.
So,
Cajun Blade.
hey, how you
us.
doing, buddy? Good to see you.
So I have to tell you, since we, I think, had our show last, I've become obsessed with this thing I stumbled upon on YouTube. That's a 6-year-old thing posted by a radio station. I don't know where, but the more people I tell about this, apparently it's a bit that a lot of radio stations do.
Okay.
But they call it a second date update. And the idea is that if you go out with somebody and you have a good connection and then they ghost you, then you write into the radio station and they get the person on the phone and, ask them, what the problem was. And then they'll offer to pay for a second date, that kind of thing. And
Really?
Of course, the best part about it is when there's actually an issue and they're hesitant to say anything, and then they pull it out of them and they say, oh, and the person's on the other line and they want to talk to you. And then of course,
so it's like Frasier on steroids, kind of.
I suppose. But I thought there's two that have stuck in my mind. And what actually got, the more I thought about this, because I had to remember these for the next time we had a show. And so it's percolating. And the one big thing that stands out is this whole ghosting thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like that's probably new for this. Well, maybe not. I don't know. But
no, we had a different term for it.
What was it?
I'm just going to ignore your ass. That's ghosting. I mean, it's just a different thing.
Well, I guess that's harder too when you didn't have caller ID or whatever. The phone rings. I mean, what are you going to ignore every phone call? And
well, yeah, but they had to call you on a landline. But the worst
Right.
part about that, they'd come over to your house and, hello, hey, it's Joe. You haven't talked to me in a while.
Yeah.
And then you try to be quiet. Don't tell him he's here. And you
peek through the
dogs would be barking and well, that's like the word of the century or the decade seems to be the term gaslighting. I absolutely hate that word. I think it's stupid. You're gaslighting me. What?
I'm not entirely sure what that means still. It just means trying to make them believe something that's not true, right?
Apparently it's so. I don't know.
Well, so I think that's a grumpy old man thing because I've actually been, so that's fine. We're going off on a different track. I'll get back to
this is, as they
thing.
say, the Potpourri show.
The Potpourri show.
The Potpourri show, yes.
But I've been, when they come up with new words that we already have words for, I don't get that. The one that's been really getting on my nerves is vibe. Because it doesn't mean anything specific. Because they'll say, "Oh, I'm just in a vibe. She's a vibe. What's your vibe?" They're
Friday night vibes.
Yeah. I guess, but it's just whatever happens to fit into the sentence. It seems, as long as it's like positive or something.
Well, that's like the term hustle has got a whole new meaning now. The term hustle means like, when you're at work, you got to get your hustle. You got to make money. You got to get your hustle. Yeah. Where when we were younger, somebody says hustle, you're thinking, how much does he charge? It's no.
Or the other one has been with giving somebody grace. Because I've been trying to figure that one out. Because grace is doing something with style, right? Or elegantly or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you give somebody grace, I think that's excusing them for like not jumping on them for doing something wrong or being sensitive to them or whatever. But what's that have to do with what it was? And then they take it farther and say, give yourself grace. And like, what does that have to do with being elegant? I mean, it's fine, but it's like we already can like be gentle with yourself. Why don't you just say that? Why are we coming up with different?
Well, different times for different vernacular. I mean, what is that dictionary that comes out every year? The slang or the urban dictionary? Yeah, that it
Yeah.
keeps changing different words for different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But interestingly enough, talking about a potpourri is you had an interesting conversation with your dad about time zones.
Oh no, he sent me. Hold on. Before we get too far off, let me share the two stories from this dating thing.
Oh yes.
That go the so one of them again. I'll shorten it up quite a bit, but the guy they go out on this amazing date says we really hit it off. You know, had this amazing conversation. And then as soon as I get home, she texts me and says, "Don't you ever contact me again, you." And he's like, "What? What in the world? Where did that come out of? You know, left field." So they call this woman up, and she goes, "Well, did he tell you what he does?" And they said, "No." He said, he works with nuclear weapons. He like sells nuclear weapons, and I'm totally against them, and I want nothing to do with them or him or any of this stuff.
Wow.
So right, so he gets on the phone and goes, what are you talking about? I work in advertising." And so they're going back and forth, and he goes, "Oh, the name of our company is New Clear Ideas." And she goes, "Right, nuclear ideas, right? I don't want anything to do with new clear." And they had to, even the radio people were getting on trying to clear this up between them. And it's like
that boy needs
happens.
to run. That boy needs to run for the hills.
But that happens all the time, and because they ghost somebody instead of saying, "I don't want to go out again because," then these simple misunderstandings just like blow up what could be.
Well, that goes to a larger subject of what we've become on a sociological level in this country, you know, where we react first and then try to discuss that. And I apologize if you heard any crunching of stainless steel and gnashing of teeth and crunching. My cohort,
Feeding time?
well, it's not feeding time yet, but apparently Leica was hungry and was trying to like do the Snoopy thing and chew the bowl. So I wasn't sure if you guys, because in my mic, I could hear this crunch, 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 ting, crunch, and I wasn't sure if you could hear that. So,
but see, that's what I was thinking about this generation. That instead of having the difficult conversation, they just that's why they do it, right? Is they don't want to argue back and forth. They don't want to hear your reasoning. So they ghost.
Well, and I think what happens too is when you and I were growing up, as probably most of our audience, when we had a conversation, we had it face to face or at least on the phone. Now it's texting. And literally, I mean, and I hate to say it, but there's a certain individual that is guilty of texting me from the other room. Well, that drives me nuts.
Oh yeah, I mean, she's under the blankets and everything. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, but come on.
But so it made me think of like, so this generation who grew up with like participation trophies, right? They're already going to have a hard enough time hitting the workforce where you're actually held accountable and can get bad reviews and stuff. And then on top of that, they're not learning how to have these difficult conversations. So could you imagine one of these people working their way into like a supervisor position and then having to deal with a worker?
I know exactly. I know exactly how they'll end up. Did you ever watch the show The Office?
Yeah. Oh, that's what it'll be.
The supervisor could say, "Yeah, I'm gonna need that stapler." Yeah, that's what they're gonna end up. Instead of the bosses that we had that said, "Get to work, or we'll find somebody to replace you." You know?
Yeah. All right. So the second one, I just thought it was sadly hilarious. Is this guy was talking about this move that he has that's always successful for getting a kiss at the end of the date, and he got it off of a movie. And he goes, at the end of the date, when she's talking and we're wrapping up the end of the day, I just put my finger on her lips and go, shh. And then I make this deep eye contact until it's just a little bit uncomfortable, and then you kiss her.
Okay.
Because it works all the time.
Okay, but before you go on, here's the reality to me. If, let's say, the roles reversed and somebody did that to me, in my world and the people that I know, that shh would be followed by, I'm bleeding, because the woman would have stabbed. So yeah, I don't know.
Right.
He
Everybody
kind
was a little shocked that was
well,
his move.
did he wash his finger? Where has his finger been?
Oh, jeez.
I mean, come on. I mean, you put your finger up against somebody's lips, you have just, yeah.
Well, that's the
And
least of your worries at that point.
so what happened?
But so they get the lady on the phone, and she said, no, I'm never going to go out with this guy again. Did he tell you how the date ended? And they said, well, no, what happened? She said, we were walking down the street, walking me back to my place. And I was telling him about this family member that had passed away recently. And then he shushed me, and then he kissed me. And here I was talking about, like, my aunt or somebody just passed away, and he shushed me. Told me not to. Like, he was so in his head, like, about his move and when he's going to do his move, that he didn't even know what she was saying.
I mean, yeah, because when you said that, all I thought was, I'm so sad. I had to put my dog down to the shh. God. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, this better than most TV that I've seen.
What's it's a YouTube channel?
No, it's a radio station's channel.
Okay.
Then they've got a playlist of hundreds of these things.
Oh, but it's on YouTube though?
Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool. Also, real quick, and feel free if you want to post that, because I think people would enjoy that. Also, I wanted to say one thing to Eric, who is the Cajun Blade here. For those people that are here that are shavers, up and coming soap maker, and he does fantastic soaps.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, real good. I've tried two. I've tried the oud, and I've tried an unscented one. And I think Bruce tried the unscented, and they're just fantastic soaps. So I wanted to just give him a shout out because he supports us and stuff like that. And hopefully he'll be either a hobbyist or a vendor over on the Shaving Cadre too. So that'll be cool.
So here, I'll put it.
Yeah, go ahead and put it in the thing, because that sounds like fun.
So that's the name of their channel. Then you just go look at their playlists and you'll see.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
That sounds really fun. Did you put it up there?
Yeah.
Oh, B&J in the morning. Okay.
Brook and Jubal's in the morning. You ever thought about doing that? You got your radio voice. You've never done radio though, huh?
Yeah, I did it in college.
Oh, what type? What was your music? Would they call it a platform?
It was rock and roll, old time, Bob Seger, stuff like that.
Yeah, but back then it wasn't old. It was just
it was new stuff. But see, here's the problem: I was on from 1 to 4 in the morning. It was a local PBS channel, so I had to be careful. It was owned by the university, so yeah.
Well, that's kind of fun though. Anyway,
it was. I mean, let me see if I can. The Pride of the Arizona Wildcats from 1 to 4. Dave Eisenhuth and his show on rock and roll, and that was it. And then the weather. I always had fun with the weather. And if you look outside, the weather is the same as it was yesterday, the day before, and the day before that. I never went in. I never
carts.
Oh yeah.
Did you have records?
Oh yeah. We spun records.
Spun the plata?
We had the actual plug-in carts, and then you press a button, so it was a cassette tape. We didn't have, like now they just go, on the computer. And in fact, there's a lot of shows that people don't realize on radio that are pre-recorded now. There's one producer that's in the whole place. And I don't know if I told you, but a couple weeks ago, Sharon and I went to our local TV station, KOLD, because the anchor is a friend of ours. And we had been there about 3 or 4 years ago and watched a production of their nightly news. And it was huge. Producers running around, script people doing all this. And so we went and saw Dan Mares, who's the local anchor for KOLD, the CBS affiliate. And we walked in, we sat down in the studio, and there was him. That's it. No one else in the studio. And all these cameras around are all gimbaled. And there's a controller in the back, and he actually controls part of it too. So he's talking to nobody in the studio. Nobody. There is nobody there. And while he's there, the Erin, who's the weather person, she's off doing her thing, and then only comes out and then she's by herself. It's weird. I mean, it was strange. And I went into a coughing fit, which was bad because, there's nobody there. But yeah, all the cameras just move independently. It's all computer controlled now. He was telling me that it cost probably 50 people their jobs when they went to all this automation because they didn't have it anymore. So
I
yeah,
bet.
it was so the same type of thing. So
Yeah. I assume you've seen like the behind the scenes of like the NFL TV productions and stuff like that. That's amazing that they can do that stuff and move it from place to place every weekend and set it up.
Oh
and
yeah.
take it down
Well, I
and-
mean, look at what's so I think it's pretty soon that the Formula One race is going to be back in Vegas, and that blows me away how they changed that entire part of the city for that. I mean, but it's Vegas, I guess. They do that often. I would love to see Drinks and Dave's Radio on Sirius XM.
Sugar-free Jack.
That would be. I like that. I think
Who'd
maybe we
be-
need to
who-
hire
who
PB as
those
our
old
agent.
guys in the Muppets. That's what our show.
Oh yeah. God, we were just
Complaint
talking
of the
about
day. Waldorf, and somebody.
Waldorf and somebody else. Yeah, it reminds me of there was a movie. Trading Places was on last night. You remember Trading Places, the movie with and those two guys. The
old guys
Mortimer, and I can't forget the other guy's name. Yeah, that they bet $1.
Yeah.
But there's also a very, very poignant artistic scene in that movie with Jamie Lee Curtis that every human being needs to watch.
Is there? I don't remember.
I can't go into detail, but it apparently is the most paused scene in a movie.
I thought that was what was her name? Oh, never mind. She was in a white dress, and it was some movie where it said, she crossed and uncrossed her legs, and you could see everything.
Oh shit.
And it's funny. The only name of movie I can think of is Silence of the Lambs. That was not it.
That wasn't it.
But wasn't it some Silence?
No, it was Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone, and
that's where the S comes from.
Yeah. When she uncrosses her leg in front of some cop. But no, the one in Trading Places, Jamie Lee Curtis, much younger Jamie Lee Curtis, takes her blouse down and stands in front of Dan Aykroyd. And
because he supposed to be blind?
No, he was sick, and she was going to warm him up. I mean, there was just nothing there. But I guarantee you, every red-blooded American male went pause. So, anyways, so back to the subject at hand.
Was there one?
Dad, the time zones.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by this because, as you know, in Arizona, everybody said, we want daylight savings time. And everybody in Arizona went, yeah, you let us know how that works. We'll be over here drinking, because we never change our time.
Basic instinct. That's it. Thanks, PB. Well, before we get on to this, because this will lead to a different discussion, I've brought up more than once, why do we need time zones in the first place? Why can't we just all be on Greenwich Mean Time?
Mm-hmm.
And then you adjust the activities of living to where you are. So I don't know what it would be, but here, instead of working 9 to 5, you'd work 2 a.m. to whatever, but that's still the daylight hours.
Right.
Well, after you did that for a year, you'd be used to your times, right?
Well, in the military, that's all we did. It was Zulu time or Greenwich Mean Time. I mean, and it's real easy. I mean, if it's after midnight, you subtract 12. If it's before midnight, you add 12. It's real simple. And it's a 24-hour clock. And so you don't need it. But the reason why I always assumed was because of giving more daylight to farmers. That's what I thought it was for originally. But I don't know.
Daylight savings time was. I'm just talking about time in general.
Oh, okay.
Why don't we just, we couldn't decide for the world, but if the whole United States is just like, okay, forget all this. We're just switching to one time, and it's going to be what? Oh, thanks for that's nice.
Well,
for the shout out.
Okay. The only counterpoint to that, what I would say is that I think in theory is fantastic.
Thank you.
But sometimes those of us that live in this wonderful United States can't even pump our own gas.
It would never happen. Like getting rid of the penny will never happen.
I was at Costco today, and Costco's pretty efficient as far as going through the gas line. Like here, I don't know about there, but here they have 3 stalls per line, and then you just watch the light. When it turns green, you pull up. Well, there is a group of people here that say, okay, if the front light turns green, that means I have to pull around and I have to squeeze in and kind of back up to get in there. So what they'll do is they'll wait till the entire thing turns green so they can pull up to the most forward, which I understand their thought process because the other two people can come
Right.
in, but not when
yeah,
but not when the people just started fueling.
Yeah.
So
That's
but that happened
that's
today.
like being at the grocery store, right? And you've got one person in line with a cart full and then 4 people in line that don't have a lot. And you're trying to figure out in your head the math of which one of these, right? So it'd be
Sharon is an expert at this because I'll go up and we have this plan and we'll go to the store and all of a sudden she'll start she's like a linebacker. She's like a linebacker and she's looking at all the aisles and she'll point out and go over here, go over here, go over here.
And like after spending 45 minutes shopping for groceries, she's going to save you 3 minutes in line.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have that kind of argument about parking a lot of times at Costco, and that, like, I'm fine with, I'll do like one lap. And if I don't see anything closer to the mall, I'm fine with parking like, 4 rows away or whatever and walking, because by the time we get there, we'd still be waiting for a closer spot, right?
You just triggered me.
Oh,
because when we go to Costco or Sam's Club or anything like that, with the type of car that I have, I park out in another county.
Wait, you don't take 2 spots, do you?
No. I never do that.
Right.
I never do. No, that's bougie. No, that ain't happening. Or just stupid. No, I'll park usually wherever the cart return is. I'll park next to that or on an end because the doors we have open wide, and we'll walk. And so there's really never the discussion of, oh, let's get that one, it's closer, because I'm always worried somebody's going to open their door and smash my door. The problem that I have with that is it seems like my car is a magnet. So literally
park next to that red Corvette.
Exactly. We were at Costco or Sam's Club one time and I was parked, basically in another county. And we walked in and it was nice. And it wasn't really that nice. It was like the middle of July, but that's another story for another time. And so we come out and every other parking space is wide open again, except for the 3 spaces around my car. And I'm like, these people did this on purpose. They did this on purpose. So yeah, no, I get that. Now, if it's raining, obviously we'll try. But Costco, I don't know how your Costco's are set up. I'm assuming they're pretty much the same. You're never going to get, unless you're very, very lucky or you circle like a shark around the place, you're never going to get. But what I found, at least at ours, is there's a side lot that nobody knows about. That's where usually most people park. So,
yeah. All right. So, yeah, my dad sent me this because we were talking about time zones. We changed the time of the show and all this stuff. This doesn't have to do with daylight savings time, but more time zones in general. And I'll try to summarize. It's a pretty interesting article, but it's a little long. And it starts with, I often say that 1883 is my favorite year in history because of all that happened in that pivotal year. And one of those things is the way modernity swept across the United States of America in a way that was shocking at the time, but now so much a part of our world, we rarely think about it. And it said, until November 18th, 1883, railroads across the United States operated under 53 different time schedules.
Wow.
Differentiated on railroad maps by complicated systems of colors. For travelers, time shifts meant constant confusion, frequently missed trains. And then at noon on Sunday, November 18th, 1883, railroads across the northern American continent shifted their schedules to conform to new standard time. Under the new time system, North America would have just 5 time zones. And it says before that, let me see, that Boston had to change their time 16 minutes. New York City had to change their clocks 4 minutes. So all these time zones were not, half an hour. They're all these crazy things. But so they set, this time that we're switching to these 5 time zones. And then it said, where did it say? Oh, so what did it mean to gain or lose time? Many people expected a sensation, a stoppage of business, and some sort of disaster, the nature of which could not be exactly ascertained. And he said, as the great moment approached, people crowded in the streets in front of jewelers to see the great transformation. We were all disappointed when, after all the buildup, the future arrived quietly.
That's interesting. And you know what's funny is that leads into our other hobby, or well, one of our other hobbies, watches. We both
Can
own.
you imagine changing your watch all the time to
Well, but
53
we both own watches from the Ball Watch Company. And if you look at the history of Ball watches, they were the first wristwatch that used railroad standard
Really?
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're known as the railroad watch. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah. Can you imagine? Yeah.
So
Yeah. What Tig Lily says, they probably freaked out like this.
That's what it made me think about. So my question was, is it so I was working in a hospital when we were doing Y2K, and you know the freak out about computers. And so they overstaffed and we got all this training, and you know I almost forgot that companies hired all these engineers to try to fix the code, and some code couldn't be fixed and all this stuff. And what happened?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
I remember that too, because you're thinking, okay, I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and the world has changed. You wake up tomorrow morning, it's like, well, that was uneventful.
That's a year too. But I'd forgotten about Y2K and the huge concern around that.
Yeah. You know, it makes one think that when you know, we as a collective society freak out about certain things like that and time zones, that it can help you think that there's aliens up in outer space looking down at us, just going, why? Why? That's like, I heard something the other day that says the Earth is the only place where aliens are flying by and they roll up their windows.
Well, you know, and it's weird to think about that. Until then, 1883, we didn't have set time zones across our country. And they made the point that before that, people really didn't care about you. You worked on the farm, right? You got up when the sun came up, you went to bed when it was dark or whatever. And it didn't really matter what time it was. You just worked with the suns.
Well, and then the whole daylight saving time comes in, and yeah, I agree with you. I would love to see it just be on Zulu time. Everybody's on the same time.
And you know, there's got to be a book about daylight savings time, because they could have made the decision, just start school an hour later instead of everybody change time across the country. Just whatever, you know, and not every industry needs to change when they
exactly
start.
Why should the adults have to get up an hour early? Make the kids get up early.
Yeah. Hello, punks. Oh, PB with the it used to be Rich hitting us with the knowledge.
And this
PB
is good. I'll read this one.
Yeah.
By 1880, the nation had 17,800 freight locomotives carrying 23,600 tons of freight and 22,200 passenger locomotives. The U.S. railroad industry was the nation's largest employer outside of agriculture. When I read this, what I think of that riddle. So you read all that and you say, and if
what was its name?
And if the electric train left at 5:30, what time would it get to San Francisco?
No, have you ever been on a passenger train?
No. Well, I take that back. In Europe, when I was stationed there, yeah. I mean, everything's train.
Okay, yeah.
But nothing like, in fact, that's a bucket list item. I want to take the Orient Express, the one that goes across Canada. I think it starts in Chicago, goes up.
No, I think is that the Rocky Mountain Express?
I don't know, but I want to do it badly.
Well, so you might start looking up YouTube videos about it, because I thought the same thing, that the one that goes through Colorado and all that would be gorgeous. And you have to take two trains, but I think you can go from basically New York to San Francisco on two trains. But the cost is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
and then
huge.
The accommodations you get are not all that great. Even if you're paying for the sleeper thing, it's like fold down bed and it's single. So if there's two of you, you're on a double-decker bed, and you know the RV toilet.
You mean it's not like that show, The Wild Wild West, where Artemis Gordon and Robert Conrad had their own train car that looked like the inside of a house?
Not here. There's some fancy ones in Europe,
Yeah.
but yeah, the I forget what the cost is.
Oh,
so
I
I'm
know
not
it's
even gonna
stupidly
guess, but
expensive. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like,
It's
so why would I'm shocked that anybody, I mean, I guess people are afraid of planes, maybe that's why they take it, but it's more expensive than a plane ticket.
right.
And I guess if you just really want to see the landscapes and stuff, I
Well, and
guess.
I think that's what's, I mean, because the train's going to take you in places that you'd never see before. So, like, we did little train trips, not, like long, like we did the Verde Valley train, which is in northern Arizona, and it goes up through the mountains. And then there's the the Grand Canyon Railroad, the Silverton Durango train, those. But but I've always had that,
Oh, there you go.
yeah,
Instead of a
9,000.
cruise, you can go on a train.
Wow. Well, and the thing is, at least in the cruise, if you want to stay in your berth and get room service, you can. Here, you have to walk 16 cars to get to the dining car.
Right, where you're having airplane quality food for the most
Sure,
part.
sure.
Here in the United States, Royal
Right.
Scotsman, I bet that
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
little fancier than that.
Well, there's a, and maybe that's the one he's talking about. That's the one that follows that route that is like the Hogwarts. It goes up through northern Scotland and stuff like that. That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. But no.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's
So
all.
this is the Potpourri show. So anybody who's got any subject, go ahead and post a question, and we'll either answer it. Okay.
I got a potpourri thing.
Okay.
Which again made me think about fads and stuff like this. When I was in college, it was the time when you go into the mall and half the stores would be, like Hallmarky stores. Candles were even more popular then than they are now. And they would have potpourri all over the damn place.
Yeah, the bags.
Yeah. And so, I got into the potpourri. I was like, my shag rug apartment with the dark wood paneling was gonna smell nice.
Now, did you have burnt copper, avocado, or God, what was the other one? The colored appliances.
Oh boy, I don't remember actually. I remember
they were like
the
brown
green shag carpet.
Yeah,
it was awful, but it was my first apartment. I was so proud.
Sure.
But so I had two things. I had the potpourri burner, right? You'd have the candle on the bottom, and then it'd have the thing you put water in, and you put the potpourri. But one, you couldn't get a lot of smell out of that. So the thing to do would be to put a pot of water on your stovetop.
I have a story about that.
Well, so do I. So one day I get home from class, and there's a note on my door about calling the landlord. And apparently they had to get into my apartment because I had left the potpourri on the stovetop and it was smoking something fierce. And they said, next time you do that, you are paying us,
or you're out of here,
a lot of money.
Yeah, that's the same story, because that's what we would do, and we still will burn potpourri in the holiday times. I like the evergreen scents and stuff like that. But same thing though, you turn it on low, and we've got a gas stove. Well, there's this thing called
Alzheimer's.
Yeah. And the water evaporates. And once the water evaporates, basically you're burning leaves.
Yeah. And I see that still around the holidays. You see it, but remember they would have like peach potpourri and lavender. Like, what happened? I mean, I guess we went with technology. Now you get the plugins, and it's just the oils.
Yeah. Well, that's what
you don't have the fun of like. Right. You got to remember you're going to set follow.
We have a plug-in for our Christmas tree that exudes the synthetic evergreen.
Now, how would you have? I mean,
that sounds like that's clown. Well, that's clown puke, basically. I mean, potpourri. I mean, a potpourri shave soap. That would be interesting. And it just so happens we have a soap maker here, Eric. Time to experiment.
Melt some rose petals and.
Well, think about it. You could do rose, evergreen. You could do a rose. You could do an evergreen. You could do a lavender, and just mix it all together, and that could be a potpourri. You know what? They probably already have it. We just don't have room.
You're talking about potpourri scent.
Yes.
Right. I guess when he mentioned potpourri, I thought of the actual junk in your soap.
Well,
so as you use it, you just start picking out leaves.
Wait a minute. I think we have a shave challenge coming, because if I could shave with enchiladas and I could shave with avocados, I could do potpourri.
Well, of course.
I mean, the hard part
I
is
don't think
though is
that'd be a big
as you're
seller.
no, because as you're doing it, all of a sudden you have this big blotch of this or a big blotch of that, and then you try to scrape your razor through it. Yeah, that
Which
might
that
be
seems
something.
strange to me because that's also a thing with handmade soaps, is that they put physical crap in the soap that sooner or later you're going to work your way down to it, right? And you're going to have a little edge of a leaf sticking out that you can't pull out because it's not.
Well,
Very
you
fun.
heard it here first. I over the holidays sometime will try to take a neutral soap. I will put potpourri in it, and
Would
I
you
will
mash
shave
it
with
up?
it. Well, no, what I'll do is because if you've been watching my videos, I have been converted to bowl lathering rather than
I see.
face
You're just going to
lathering.
dump some stuff in there and whip it up
Yeah,
into a
and I'll
lather.
whip it up into the lather because and this is your fault, by the way. The only
Mhm.
reason I'm bowl lathering now is because of you, because of that Turkish yogurt drink lather bowl. And I do it every day now, and I like it.
Did you pay over $10 for that bowl?
No, it was on Amazon
No.
for like, I don't know. It was
Oh,
cheap.
Amazon. You didn't even get it from Southeast Asia and wait like
Well,
7 weeks for
duh.
it to.
Wait a minute. It's Amazon. Of course, I got it from Southeast
Hmm.
Asia. Yeah, it took about 2 weeks to get here. But
Yeah,
what's
that's
weird though is mine is not aging. Like I don't know how long it takes before they start getting. Because mine looks as good as it was when it was brand new. But I'm also very meticulous with it. Maybe I don't know.
Well, unless you polish it, it's gonna.
No, well, I'm waiting for that. I'm hoping it does. But I really
Well, so
like it.
that so everybody knows what we're talking about is despite all the shaving stuff, we have multitudes of soaps and scents and razors and all this stuff. I have one shave bowl, which is this copper bowl that came from who knows where, and I don't even know. I think I probably got it off of eBay or something,
Mhm.
and it was like $5.99 or something,
Mhm.
and it lasts forever, and it's just the perfect thing to
Well,
lather up.
it's a hand hammered. So the inside has the dimples from the hammer,
Yeah.
and I guess apparently what it really is, it was made for drinking. It was made for. I guess there's some.
It does
I don't
have a
know.
handle on it.
Well, I don't know if it's Persian or if it's somewhere in the Middle East, but they have a yogurt style drink, like a tea or something like that.
No.
That's what those were originally made for, and then people started converting them for lathering.
Misusing them.
Yeah, they're wonderful. So PB asked a question: do either of you guys own and play Pong?
Heck
I
yeah.
did not know there was any working Pong
No, it
machines anywhere, but
did.
yes, I
Did.
used
It's
to
not
play it.
current.
Yes,
Did we?
yes,
Yeah, I
I
was
did play
lucky enough
Pong.
growing up that my father also enjoyed video games.
Yep.
So we got and that was crazy. I forget that before Atari, there was a machine that was that was it, right? Pong.
Did you remember the original Pong though? You
With
had
the
a
paddle?
screen. No,
Oh,
there was a screen overlay that you put on the TV.
oh,
And so somehow that did
no.
something to the screen. Oh yeah, we used to love. I mean, when Pong, because my dad was the same way. My dad was like, "You're not gonna believe what they came out with, this amazing thing." Is like doot 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 doot.
But
And
it
at
was the
first,
first time you controlled something on your
oh
own
yeah,
screen.
oh yeah. But now look at the games. I mean, then we went from that to asteroids. I mean, I was an asteroid freak, and then there was Dragon's Lair, and then now you look at the video games now, and they look like they're real. I mean, I don't have a PS4 or an Xbox. I know you do. Or do you have a PS or an Xbox?
PS5.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
Please, Dave. Please.
Well, I know that we've got some. Like I know Chris Gear is a big gamer. And some of the games are pretty intense. I mean, they look.
And what's crazy? I've seen little video clips of people that are in the military. There's a game that's called The Last Days of Fallujah or something like that,
Mhm.
and they show them playing that, but they talk about the reality of the graphics of that. They said this is exact that I remember that building there and that
Mhm.
corner there, and it looks exactly like that.
Well, I do have some flight simulator games, and the newest versions of like Microsoft Flight Simulator. I mean, the ATC traffic is interactive, so you're talking, and you have to have certain clearances. You have to know what they call the NOTAMs are, which is notice to airmen, and and when they say let's say American Airlines 36 Heavy, taxiway B to open runway, hold short for L1011. And all that is actually happening in this simulation. And it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing where it's come from.
Yeah. Pitfall. I was a Pitfall fiend. And that was back in the time where the games were not that sophisticated. So you kind of had, if you memorized the patterns, you could get farther and farther and farther.
What was the one? And I know somebody has to know this. The one where it's a first-person shooter and you're going through these mazes and you're shooting Nazis.
Oh, Doom.
No. There was one before that.
Wolfenstein.
Yes.
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein. Yes, I remember that.
Yes. That's my thing. The first-person shooter. I can't get. That's the problem now. All the most of the first-person shooter games are meant to be played online with other people. Right. And those guys are intense. First of all, I don't want to pay for the service, but
right. Well, there's a science fiction game out there. I think it's called, this may be wrong, called Expanse, and it's an online game. And there's people that have been playing this for 15 years. I mean, it's like you've been in space for 15 years, and they are so intense. And then there's these alliances and this. That's too much work. I just want to go in and go, bang, you're dead. Okay, thank you, or whatever. Yeah.
But it is cool that, you have a whole community, right? And you can build and build and build. And
well, a certain individual that I won't mention.
I wish that individual joined our call.
It wouldn't it be nice? I mean, it would be so nice if she would join our call. But I bought her this game called, and some of you may know it, called Civilizations. And Civilizations was a game that you basically started from breaking rocks and sticks to building this huge, cities and stuff like that. I mean, a very cool game. Well, unfortunately, when I bought her the game, she started playing it and I went to bed. Got up the next morning and she's still playing the game. I go to work, I come back, it was her day off, and she's still playing the game. It became like a second life for her. It was that intense of a game. And I have not told her yet that the new versions are nothing like the old versions. The new versions are just amazing.
Oh boy, Christmas is coming.
Yeah. Frogger was fun. It was very simple. Your whole job was to get a frog across traffic.
Which is funny, again, the evolution of expectation, right? Is for us, that was fun. But now, if you had a game, although I say that, but then what's Minecraft? It's just blocks and stuff.
And see, that I don't understand. I see everybody freaking out over Minecraft. I'm going, dude, we had this 50 years ago. But I guess, it's just that thing. I remember, you show a kid asteroids today and they're like, dude, what is this? Or my favorite game of all time was Tempest. I don't know if you remember Tempest.
Oh, yeah.
Tempest was because literally I think it probably caused heart palpitations in most young people because, those things were coming up and you got the little thing going around. Yeah. Or Joust, Defender.
I was bad at Joust. The whole, had you stop flapping to go down, and I could never get that timed.
And then the Defender thing, you didn't know when to hit that blaster to clear out the whole screens because those little, whatever they were coming after you. Yeah, there were some fun games.
You know what? I'm wearing a ball watch right now to bring it back. I mean,
there you go.
But yeah.
Yeah, I went through my watches and I changed to my winter accoutrement. Because in the winter, I put straps. Yeah, because it's in the summer they're too hot; they get nasty and sweaty. So, I take all my most of my stainless watches and put the straps that came with them. This was actually the strap that came with the watch, and I've never worn it, never in all these years. So I decided to put that on. So anyway,
that's one thing I never do is change the straps on my watches.
Well, you should because that's like having a whole new watch. It really is. I mean, it's fun.
But I have to go find the box, and I have to find the right box for that watch if you have more than one from the same manufacturer.
And I have to ask this, but speaking of watches, was there ever a final decision made on?
There was. Here's a story, and people are going to have no sympathy for me whatsoever. but yeah. So I went to the San Francisco Watch Show when it was here earlier in the year, and one of the coolest watches was this Accutron that is powered by. Do you remember the name of the movement, static
It's
electricity.
a piezoelectric generator, something to that
Is it
effect.
different? Yeah, but anyway, it's got 3 spinny dials on the front of it, and 2 of them spin and create electricity with the static electricity
Right.
it makes. And then the third one does just the opposite and creates energy for the second hand.
Yeah, and you have a capacitor that holds on to that energy.
Right, no battery. The capacitor holds the charge. And they have this special edition that they pair with a cigar company, and it comes with cigars and a humidor and a cigar cutter. This whole thing only makes so many. And I was like, okay, well, I just bought another watch there, and I'm like, I'm not going to buy another one. And then you were mentioning just out of the blue earlier this week, you're like, oh, I decided I'm down to these. One of these 2 will be my next watch, right? And I said, well, I've been thinking I'm going to hold off until I go back to the watch show, see if they can bring one of those. And I've been thinking about it ever since the show, and I'm going to buy that one. And on a whim, I looked up on eBay because, I hate paying retail. And boom, that exact limited edition for 20% less than new price. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get this thing. Right.
And of course, a certain friend of yours is egging you on during this whole process.
Yeah, like, well, you better get it while it's there, and all this stuff.
Well, wait a minute. Before you continue, I guess we must say that when it comes to watches, you and I are both our worst enemy.
Yeah, it's almost as fun seeing the other guy buy a watch, right? Like, oh, a new watch, and I didn't have to pay for it.
Exactly.
This is fun. It's an Accutron Space View 2020. And if you Google that with like cigar collab or whatever, it'll show you the watch. But
keep your story going.
I didn't buy, and I mentioned it to my wife, saying I'm torn because this is a lot less than I pay at the show for it. So then my MO is that if I'm on the fence and I don't want to spend the money, but I can't help it, is I try to drag it on long enough that it's gone. and it's still there. So I'm doing all my research. Well, it ends up that because of the mechanics of this watch, you can't put it on a watch winder. That doesn't give you enough oomph or whatever to charge it up. And so you have to move your arm like this. So it's meant to be, if you're walking, it charges. And it says you have to basically walk for an hour to charge it for a day. And then, okay, fine. Because it also has built in all this energy saving, right? If you don't wear it for a while, it like shuts down to save the charge and all this stuff. But so I'm like waffling back and forth. And I finally said, all right, you know what? Even when I'm wearing it, I'm not going to be doing this and be walking for an hour. And I'd hate for this thing just to die. And I'd constantly be worrying about keeping it charged and stuff. So I'm not going to get it. And yes, they were part of Bulova, but they've fractioned off. And now Accutron's its own. And the only people that can repair these or fix it if it dies is Accutron. And the back. Don't open this thing.
And the history of Bulova, the Bulova Accutron was a tuning fork quartz movement that it had a real high pitched, tuning fork sound. And those watches are hard to come by now. And then Accutron went off. So, but I don't know. This lovely lady by the name of Pantea says you do have to say what your wife said.
No, she said, "Do you have to?"
Oh, no, you do. Oh, it says you do have to.
Oh, she did give me permission. I did have permission to get the watch. But if it weren't for the charging thing, I would have jumped all over that. But you're an administrator, and when you're sitting in your office with the door closed, you can sit there and do this and just hope to God nobody walks in and goes, "What are you doing?" I'm charging my watch. But what was interesting is because I read everything I could find about this thing is you do have to send it to them, because if they are going to take it apart, it's not just in a clean room.
Yeah.
Because it has to produce the static electricity, it has to be super dry. Mm-hmm. So if you open it up, a bunch of humidity will go in there, and it'll become less efficient and won't charge well. And
it is a cool watch, and I've waffled back at Why
That's
does
it.
this? Why does this sound like she's celebrating?
Well, I said once, yes, that's it. No, she's good. Probably wishes that I wasn't into watches, but you know,
Well, but I know who she blames for that.
yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah, and that's okay. I'll take the bullet. I'll take the bullet because that same day afterwards, because I can go literally 48 hours without looking at a watch, and that's a long time. And when you mentioned this watch, I had, and there's a company by the name of Main, Maen, and they have a really super thin dress watch. That's one of the ones I've been considering. So I showed it to my wife, and my wife goes, "That's pretty." Now, see, to me, when I hear, when I hear that, that's permission.
Yeah.
That's
You
implied.
liked it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was a real mental struggle for me for about 4 days. That occupied most.
So it's a done deal. It's a no for today.
I'd say 99% no. I mean, I thought this is stupid. I'm going to worry about it being charged, and I don't. It shouldn't be a worry, right? It should be like, oh, I forgot that I owned it, and I pick it up, 6 months down the road, and you just wind it up and go.
But I know they say you have to walk, but it's working on kinetic energy. So to me, any movement of the wrist is going to help charge that. So
I would, yeah.
I mean, because to me, if an automatic watch, winds up this way, you'd think that something would happen.
See, now I'm thinking about it again.
She is celebrating. I like it. No, stop. Don't open the door anymore. We already dodged the bullet.
Anyway. So with that, it's a
no.
Did you buy a Patek?
An answer to that, no.
The problem. The
Patek Philippe are just way overpriced. I mean, the Royal Oak at what, 240,000? No.
I wouldn't get the Royal. They have some very, very pretty ones that I think are somewhat skeletonized and done so well. But that's the thing is, you have to get. For me, I'd have to get way above their base models that are even already expensive, and then you're like, no.
But you can look at watches like Frederick Constantine or Constant. There's a lot of beautiful watches out there. I mean, like for instance, the Main, the small. Yeah.
Sorry, buddy. You gotta.
Love Rich.
So Rich has gotten the bug of assembling his own watches.
Yes, and they're nice.
And assembling ones that mimic other ones. And he does a good job. Yeah.
Yep. Legit.
Call them legit watches. Yeah.
See, now this proves that our wives are involved in our hobby, because who would know that? Just send him the specs. Maybe he can send you one.
Yeah. Actually,
you know what? And him and Sharon could get together, being the fact that she's an electrical engineer, because I can tell you one thing. She created for Halloween, and this is off topic with watches, but on Halloween one time, I wanted the flashy thingy for, the thing, because they didn't have them out yet. I've got the real one.
For Men in Black.
Yeah, for Men in Black. So she engineered how she could take a flash from a camera, the actual flash from a camera, connect it to a 9-volt battery, wrap it in a thing, and I'd press a button and it would flash. Well, during the research and development, during the research and development of this, she said, touch this to hold contact. And I'll tell you what, you never really realize how much power is in a 9-volt battery. Then when it's the wire stuck to my skin. The flash worked, but it burnt it was smoking. And to this day, in this finger, I don't have a lot of feeling.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, you might be able to get disability for that, Dave.
I might. But that goes to show you, because she is so, and she can make anything. And so you put Rich and her together in a mad scientist thing, God knows what they could come up with. You did not tell me not to touch that. No, you didn't. You said, grab it right here. And I did. And all I remember is, "Eh." But yeah, 9-volt batteries have a lot of power.
Yeah. Electrostatic. That's what it's
There
called.
you
It
go.
was driving me nuts. They have electrostatic motors and chargers in them.
We have those too, Linda. We have those too.
Yeah, I mean, I actually just got a watch based off of Glamorous Glennis.
Yes.
The first plane to
beautiful
break the
watch.
sound barrier. It's super cool, and they had a sale, and it was pretty inexpensive. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The problem is what you get to a point where you start considering what is a cheap watch, and that number keeps going up. I mean, because you see a watch for $5,000, you're like, I don't know. You see a watch for $1,250, you're like, see, that's not that bad.
That's a bargain.
That's the scary part. Yeah, that's the scary part.
All right. Well, we've had a good show. I think we've carried.
We did. This was definitely a potpourri. And yes, Jaeger LeCoultre is a very, very nice watch. But there are so many good watchmakers out there right now. I'll mention one channel that talks about different style watches, and that's Andrew Morgan on YouTube. And he's got really neat stuff, mostly done in Britain, but it's pretty cool. So again, as we say every week, if you guys have got some subject matter that you would like us to talk about, please email us. So we have something to talk about next week. Well, next week's going to be our pre-Thanksgiving show. I mean, it's the week of Thanksgiving.
Oh,
we're going to be talking about turkey and stuffing and stuff.
Wait, not food again.
Why not? That's what we do. That's what we do. Oh, real quick before we go, you got to talk about your ice cream, because that was amazing. You got to name the place that you go and the type of flavors that they have.
Yeah, so there's a ice cream store called Salt and Straw that is a chain. I don't think it's many places past the West Coast.
Seen it, yeah.
And every month they come out with new limited edition flavors. So this is the month of Thanksgiving flavors. And so one of them was turkey stuffing and cranberry ice cream.
Did you try it?
I tried it. It was intense.
Really?
Let me say that. And it was impressive the way they got the flavor spot on, but it's not what you want in an ice cream. It was sage and sausage were very clear in the flavors and very strong. And that sage just lingered in my mouth forever. It was just, I couldn't wait to get the next taste of something else to.
So it was like an everlasting gobstopper. It kept changing.
Of sage. Yeah. Oh, that would be a gross shaving soap. There you go. We have all sorts of Christmas shaving soaps.
Yeah.
Let's get that one, man. Let's get the Thanksgiving, the gravy smell.
Now, did you get a chance to try that chocolate one with the peanut butter, or was that not?
That was amazing.
Yes, it looked like it was really good.
Yes.
What was in it?
I don't remember. It was, and I don't remember how it equated to Thanksgiving, because it was chocolate with peanut butter chunks and stuff. But you had to buy a pint of that. So the one that I ended up actually getting a scoop of was hot buttered rolls or something like that.
Ooh.
And it actually had pieces of roll in it. That was good. It was nice and smooth and a little bit buttery but sweet. So it wasn't crazy tasting. It was nice.
Well, since you're speaking of rolls, I do have one little quick anecdote that, most people know that we got a new dog, Laika, Lanky Laika, or Pinky Huscadero. She is a husky, and she's a little taller than our other one. Well, the other night we went out, came home, and everything in the house looked great. Nothing was torn up. Nothing was taken down until I went into the master bedroom, and there was an entire loaf of bread. Or should I say, what used to be an entire loaf of bread. So we have found that our dog likes bread.
There you go.
Yeah.
This would be a great series for them. Arguing relatives, parents' flavors.
Sleeping grandparents' flavors.
Yeah.
Parker House rolls. Actually, you know who had really good rolls? There was a place called Grandy's. I don't know if you ever remember that place.
No.
They would come around and they would have these fresh baked rolls that you'd have with your dinner. Oh, they were wonderful. So anyhow, so if you have another subject that we can dovetail into Thanksgiving, please send that to us, because we will be here for our Thanksgiving extravaganza.
Do you have shoes with little buckles you can wear for that show? I think that'd be appropriate.
No.
Oh.
No, I don't. But I
Yeah.
might be able to figure out a hat, a pilgrim hat, maybe. So, anyhow, I hope everybody enjoyed the show today. It was a lot of fun. I didn't think I thought we were going to run out of stuff, but we actually did pretty good, and we need to thank you for that. Salt and Straw. Is that the name of the place?
Yep.
In Gilbert. Sharon, we're taking a trip to Phoenix, because that's where it's at. Oh, we're going to have to try that. Thank you, Stephen. You made my day, and just an excuse to go up to Phoenix. So, anyways, join us again next week, same time, same bat channel. And as I said, if you guys have some subject matter, please let us know. And I hope everybody has a wonderful week. And say goodnight, Dave.
Night, Dave.
Take care.